It's a lot. It's a lot, and you know how I get. All right, let me see. Wholeness. Okay. All right, I am simulcasting on TikTok, so because I like the recording for TikTok, so we'll do that. Wholeness, everybody. We're gonna start talking about these energies because, ooh, it's a doozy. So if we thought we've been having fun so far, we haven't begun to.
Fun.
Who? Anybody wants
You
to
would say
heal?
that.
Anybody wants to heal? Oh, they're forcing this poison down our throats. Oh my goodness! Like you're taking the poison and you're taking it raw. So all year Infinity, I've been fighting with you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been fighting with you because of fishes. And I'm not a professional astrologer. I don't consider myself a professional astrologer. So I know stuff. I know a little bit, you know.
So you're fighting with me because you're not a professional astrologer?
All right. TikTok's going to have to be because I'm literally using TikTok for recording. So I can't spend the time like saying hello. Wholeness, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. This may need a part 2 because this energy is insane. This is how officials activate. I'm telling you, like the universe, everybody thinks the universe is orderly. Yes, it is. And then it throws a stone. And I think that's and if you ever gotten into spirituality or occult knowledge, and there's a very simple story that the events that are happening today were set in motion like millions of years ago just by a little pebble coming down the mountain, just a little pebble like falling off the mountain. And so if you've ever been to Arizona, you'll know what I'm talking about because in Arizona, it's full of mountains and you can actually climb them. I've also traveled Colorado and I've seen the huge mountains. But the ones in Arizona are special because like, you know, we've studied these and the earth itself is alive, so you can study the earth. It's like they're little, it's not just dirt, they are actual little microbes, little organism. They're living organism that creates the mountains. So because of this, they actually stick to each other. So meaning like they are sticking to each other energetically. So that you form the mountain that's forming is not just, you know, random dust, but all of this huge organism sticking little by little to each other. So this is giving you an idea of how we human beings also are, right? So this story about how just one little pebble, if it decides, this is a conscious decision to come off that mountain. I don't care if it looks like an avalanche. It's a conscious decision because infinity. New moon, right? And I know it's titled War and Peace. And so I was looking at this energy all day. I'm like, okay, yeah, new moon. It doesn't look anything special. But remember, we are coming off two energies that are really important. Solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, big vortex, what's coming in. And this is what comes in with it. And if you've seen my post, you'll see that it's literally the snake coming through, right? Which is like, but it's not just any type of snake. This is a control snake. So there's a master that is holding this poison. And so that means that as you've been working through your own journey this year of healing, because everyone has had to go through, I don't know, if I say everyone, is that a misnomer, Infinity? If I say everyone, to say that, should I say some people
I'm
have...
over here cracking up at you.
should I just, okay, I'm going to cross out everyone.
Oh my God.
I'll cross out everyone. I won't give everyone the benefit of the doubt, because there's been too much
You can
shenanigans.
say everyone.
They
That's
might be
okay.
unconscious of this. There's the whole idea of like, we do the work unconsciously as well. So if you're doing the work and you are doing the work unconsciously, that's such a thing. So however, this is the energies we're talking
You
about.
have to consciously not be doing the work for it to.
So you
Yeah.
think so we need to bring the things from the subconscious to the conscious for it to make any type of difference in the individual life. However, how about the collective though? Let me ask that question. What about the collective? Because to me, this is collective poisoning. We got Jupiter goes direct. By the way, I was waiting for Jupiter to go direct because everybody has financial problems, right? And so it's like, wait, Jupiter's been holding on to that money all month, all year, playing, hide and seek with everybody's funds. The reason why Jupiter has been playing, hide and seek is there was this one star with with the Jupiter retrograde, and the Jupiter retrograde star was Shet, right, which causes extreme misfortune. Right. One of the things that happens with the fixed stars, I know everybody might be used to the planets. The fixed stars, their energy is pointed, meaning they're very direct. Like the energy is specific with the fixed star. This is why a fixed star energy is more powerful, because it's like a direct line and pointing to this. So just to say that, in terms of understanding why I personally like to point to those stars. Okay. So the new moon comes with Jupiter goes direct, and the new moon is trining Jupiter. So there's a couple of trine here that's happening. And even though they look beneficial, I don't know, I don't know. So anyway, just to say in terms of like how I'm seeing the energy, let me clarify for Infinity how I'm seeing the energy. Everything has been culminating. Chiron has been right in the mix of the healing work all year. Chiron went retrograde in the summer. And so this healing work has been happening for months now. So unlike 2020, so even though this is 2022, unlike 2020, but in either case, because I think Chiron was direct this whole time. So here we are with Chiron being in retrograde, with a lot of specific alignments with these fixed stars. And what it is creating basically a complete circle around Ophiuchus. And if you've never heard of Ophiuchus, Ophiuchus is like known as the 13th constellation. And there's whole arguments regarding like why we should be including the 13th argument, the 13th constellation, the 13th argument, the 13th constellation. Right, she's clapping because this is the argument, and I have been saying no, because Ophiuchus doesn't activate every time. So even if we were to activate it, it's not based on a 365 day that we reach. So depending on the cycle of the star, the planet, or the asteroid, this is when it reaches us. So some aspects have, I don't know, I'm saying the wrong word, but some of them have years, 50 years, 90 years, Ophiuchus, I feel is like that. So to throw it in every year is not really making any type of sense, because it's literally what the 12 constellations are doing is basically tapping part of Ophiuchus. And so if you look at the 12 constellation, it looks like they are circling Ophiuchus themselves. So this 13th constellation would literally be in the middle, and then you have the 12th constellation going around them. And so therefore this is why Ophiuchus wouldn't be activated every time. And what you would happen to do is to activate parts of it. So if you see it, they usually have an old man. They always change the sex to an old man, except for this one Chinese movie I'd seen, a Chinese drama I had seen where they had Ophiuchus as a female deity. However, it doesn't matter because it's a energy. So here we have Ophiuchus. The star that is being touched is called the snake. It's like a snake, but it's the snake in the left hand of the star of the constellation. So here we are again, Chiron being activated here. And this is why I say the control poison, because if it's in the left hand, again, left, female, feminine energy, so the snake in the left hand would be able to direct. And I know this is a bit esoteric and occult knowledge, and some people are not there, but really in understanding why this is going to be a very destructive energy, even though, and destroy to heal, by the way. So I want to make sure that we understand destruction doesn't necessarily mean bad. Destruction means we need to destroy this BS so that everything can be rebuilt. So not for nothing, this has, whatever this is, it has to go. So here, and this is why I was super excited for Jupiter to go direct, and then I see this and I'm like, oh no, this is Jupiter's going direct, but the energy itself is going to be such a huge expansion. It's bringing down everything with it. So this is what I mean by how these energies is going to mix. So again, the stars that we're talking about is Antares and Yed Prior. If I say them wrong, sorry. The fixed star, Yed Prior, causes immorality, shamelessness, and revolution. Bring everything down and burn, baby, burn. Right now, this is part of the Ophiuchus constellation, which gives a passionate and blindly good-hearted, wasteful, and easily seduced nature, with a little happiness. Of course, unseen dangers, which we've talked about. It also brings in enmity, strife, and slander. Okay, this is of course associated with medicine and poisoning, which is why I'm talking about the snake. Remember, a lot of the symbol of medicine is the snake. Medicine itself is of course poison that we give. Most medicine is poison. So here is the major energy of so we're having what they call the heart of the scorpion. It's a lineup between Venus and Taurus, which is the other star, in Mercury. Now, this is creating a trine, by the way, with Mercury, Chiron, and Venus. So here, the star in Taurus causes malevolence, destructiveness, liberality, broad-mindedness, evil presages, and then danger of fatality. And of course, because of all of this, I should say, not just of course, it makes you ravenous. And I actually like the word ravenous, because if we think about a snake biting and how it would just swallow someone whole, like if you've ever seen like a big snake, when it takes you, it just swallows you whole. And then this can also be like, remember, poison can be destruction to yourself as well. So just remembering that part of it. So here we are. To me, this is part of the major energy of this new moon. Now, of course, yes, if I sound omnibus, while everybody else is going to be like, it's new moon, it's great, it's bringing new energy, I just think that the Jupiter going direct it's a massive energy. Jupiter's energy is big. It's a massive energy too, because energy doesn't say that I'm good or bad. Energy is energy. And so here is this really big, massive energy, because Jupiter is almost the size of the sun. So it's a sun-like energy, basically pushing its way out. And right after the two eclipses, and this is why I feel that this is where we might do earth shakers, type of events. Again, I don't predict anything, but this is, to me, that this is the kind of energy. And again, if you do listen to the news, if you do, besides all of the nonsense that titillates people that everybody gets into, but if you are listening to the news and seeing what's happening itself on the planet, there's a lot going on, and this is this type of energy that we're talking about. So here we are in Taurus, yet prior, and the snake being very much a directed energy to, I think, destroy, but of course, destroying in a way of the healing. So here, I'm going to take a break and see if Infinity wants to jump in here, because I know I've said a lot. So, wholeness.
You did, and I'm just listening and meditating on what you're saying. I don't really have anything to add quite yet, but that is a lot. The thing that comes to mind for me, I think, with this energy is, me and you have talked about this, controlled opposition. It's a lot of that going on. What you think might be two opposing issues, especially on the news or on a grander scale, is really two things that are on the same side being presented like they're opposites. And there's a lot of that energy going on. So just be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, and this is part of the deception of the Mars retrograde. So Mars retrograde energy came in with rootlessness and deception. And so this is the control opposition. It's like it's a lie, but it's like a deceptive lie. It's a planned lie. It's all actors. So in a way, even I would watch even the people within your lives, they're acting, if that makes sense, And so being very mindful of characters, being very mindful of storylines, all of that is like, to me, because I know it's cliche even to say the whole world's a stage, but in a way, the whole world's a stage, and so therefore, even including your life. You know what I mean? So in that respect, really looking at this energy is very important. Like, learning the lessons here, of course, is very important, because this is lots of healing here. So that, because you are being guided to be able to see what is. This is a very practical energy. This isn't an energy that's just fanciful and, hey, I'm dreaming in space and this is spirituality. This is a studied spirituality. This is an experienced person. So you have experienced life, you have experienced, your healing and your process. And this is the kind of energy we're talking about, because we've been going through it all year. So now, the application must be made, and so you've learned so much, and therefore you can direct your own poison. So you can direct your own medicine, you can direct your own healing. Remember here, the poison, in effect, as it moves through your system, is something that transforms you, as it transforms you, and that becomes the medicine through the transformation. And so this is why I think it's important to look at this energy, as to, like, okay, well, what came out of the full moon, as the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse, and then looking at, even out of all the lies, the destructions, and all of the dramedies, the friendships that broke up, the groups that broke up. Me and Infinity was literally watching this in real time happen inside of a clubhouse, where there's all of a sudden we were looking at the rooms, and all the rooms were smaller, right? And Infinity was like, well, no. I was thinking, well, maybe this means that people were leaving the app. And she was like, no, they're separating to smaller groups. And so here, in looking at how new alliances are being formed and reformed, And here,
Groups
choose.
within groups.
Yes, and choose wisely. So, and you are wise enough to choose. Hence, why there a part of this energy is a daredevil energy. The Antares energy is the daredevil, meaning like it's going to do the new thing. It's not a very shy star at all. This is that star that will take the dangerous road, that will so here, let's put it this way. Antares makes people tough, belligerent, and pugnacious. I have to look up the word pugnacious. But this is a military person. This is a person that's strong, meaning like you've been through battle, you've been through wars, and you're very strong. Lots of courage here. And I thought, and of course, as always, we are again within the Mars retrograde. So Antares, therefore, would denote the Mars energy of violent, and then, of course, violent death. So here you can look to certain parts of the world where there's a lot of violent death going on in battles and so on and so forth. So here, of course, I think that in looking at this energy, so by the way, very much active within this is not just Jupiter, but Mercury and Venus. So here, in terms of like the trines, what's happening, it is very much to me like Venus is the one, is the, how do you call it, is the general here. If you must know who the general is, Venus is the general. So looking at the feminine energy very much, and if you listen to my Mars retrograde, I don't want to say live. What was it like? What we had, well, live on TikTok, or if you listen to my Mars retrograde on the replays in Abundance Portals, you would have seen like a lot of this energy. It turns internal. So the Mars retrograde energy is very violent on the outside. However, once it goes retrograde, it goes internal. So the search for the core of you, the core of who you are, your inner fire, how to ignite your inner fire, is something that is searched through when Mars goes retrograde. So here it will bring in all of these type of energy that's real, not necessarily the nice stuff at all. Just like, who are you? And then really absolutely looking at yourself in the mirror and admitting to you who you are, and how are you as well. I think we've been discussing this. How are you is super important here. So Infinity.
I just see one more energy, and I don't know if you've if you can co-sign this or not, but it's this energy of the lookalike or the false twin. And I know that we hear this in terms of twin flame, but I'm talking about just in general, being presented with something that looks like something else, and one is real, one is not, and having to be your authentic self. That's the only way you're going to make the right choice. Is that if you are truly who you say you are, then you will be able to easily distinguish between what is being presented a certain way and what is truly what it is. And I really feel like we talked about the final exam. I really feel like that's part of the final exam leading out into the new year. If you really have gone through the fire, you've been tried in the fire, and you come out, you will make the right choices going into the new year.
And I don't, and I know I told you this earlier today. I'm agreeing with you here, by the way. Every time I looked at the clock, it said 22. I woke up, it was 22. Like it was, let's say 9:22 or 10:22, 7:22, 11:22, 1:20. Like it was insane. At one point I turned around, it was 12:22. I'm like, what the hell? Like it would not stop showing me 22. And then in my head I was like, is it 22? I was like, yes, it was. So.
Yeah, that 22 energy is like really tricky because it's the four energy of foundation, but it also is bringing to light the things that don't make your foundation stable. And that feels like tower. It feels like something's falling apart. It feels like betrayal. It feels like, that Seven of Swords energy. But what it is the breaking away of what is not, so that the foundation can stand the way it needs to stand. So sometimes, we can be tricked into believing something is supposed to be there when it's not supposed to be there. Or we make our choices thinking, yeah, this is the right choice, and then it's not. So it has to fall away. And that feels like betrayal, or it feels like, oh my God, my world is ending, or it's crumbling down. When in actuality, it's no. You had to be shown that this was not the correct, these were not the correct materials for your foundation. And that's really what 22 energy is all about. It's literally you're stepping, it's master builder. So you're stepping on this platform that you're hoping will hold you, and it's supposed to hold you. But if it's not built correctly, then the parts that need to fall off will fall off. And then it's going to cause you to wobble and be like, whoa, and maybe even fall off the platform. But then at least you know what needs to go so that it can be stable and firm. So that's what 22 energy is. And that's what this year was all about for a lot of people. Not for everyone, but for a lot of people, it was really enlightening, showing everyone who is who, what is what, and based on your childhood wounds, why you see things as they are, why you believe things to be what they are, why you make the kind of choices you make, why you attract the kind of people you attract, thinking that, these are the people for you, when in actuality, these are the people that are comfortable to your wounds. And so that has to fall apart so that the real can come forward.
Beautifully said. And I think when you're saying tower more, it's like looking at the tower reverse, right? So for the tarot lovers here, the tower reverse is suggesting that you are undergoing a significant personal transformation. And so look at your life, well, what's been going on, this year or even the past couple of years. So it's a significant personal transformation and upheaval. And this is why I said the whole thing about destruction. So this is change. I remember one of the things with change was like Uranus was squaring Saturn all year. So that went during the solar eclipse. The Uranus Saturn square was either, I don't remember if it was the solar eclipse or the lunar eclipse, but the Uranus Saturn square ended, that ended at like that 0 degree, and that was that culmination. There was of this massive energy that was guiding and driving the control, to talk about restrictive change, right? I think Saturn restriction, and then Uranus change. So it was a restrictive change, a very much change had to be happen. But one of the things in watching Saturn and Uranus in that interplay was, at time feeling the really annoyed at Saturn, but understanding that the Saturn energy understands that change is going to happen, but was trying to control the chaos. And so waiting at opportune time for energies to be released, for situationals in your life to happen, or even situationals in the world to happen. And so all of that was happening. So in a way, this is this to me, when I looked at it, was a really wonderful energy. So if you're looking at the tower reverse, it is you instigating the change, you calling into the question all of your belief system. So like the who you are, you call it into question. The who you think you are, who society thinks you are, you call it into question, and then you review yourself so that you can be like, wait a minute, this is not what I believe, like Infinity is saying, this is what I believe in. And then that twin is giving you choices, right? And I think Saturn's energy was giving people choices as to like, if you want to stay in that old paradigm, you could, you know. Now I don't know how, I don't know how to, but my energy is different. So looking at it, so things to we're looking at, I just said belief system, but your values, your purpose, the meaning of your life, what did a spiritual awakening mean to you, all of that, your path, because and not being afraid of the change of opinion. Sometimes when we change opinion, we think that something is wrong, that the other is wrong. Like you ever see, like if I believe in this, then the other must be wrong. In effect, the change didn't say that. The change just said that I believe in this and now I believe in that, and that's it. And you didn't need to vilify one or the other, but understood or were able to stand in that space with the other. And that is something that can be very profound, because a lot of people are just one-sided. They believe in one thing and they will die believing that one thing, and they will die for that one thing too, and they'll fight you as well for that one thing that they believe in, and not understanding that there's others, and definitely another, even that the thing that you're fighting against can be something that you can also switch sides and go to. So I think this was a lot of the a lot of it. Now, of course, in tarot, the tower can also mean that you are resisting the change, so which can be a part of it as well. So just saying that. But so welcome everybody to the space. Thank you so much for being here. For those of you who came through, I know I'm like literally using TikTok for recording today, so I'm not even saying hello to the people. So if you they came through, and if you're still here, thank you so much. And you stayed. Byron, Twanda, Carla, Tim. Welcome to Clubhouse, Tim. Christina, Budo, and Ami. Was that Amis? Wholeness. So Michael Shea. Able that Raven, Lighthouse, Deidra, and Phoenix, Wholeness. I know it's what day is today? I don't know, Tuesday. So it's Mars Day.
The 22nd.
No, I don't mean the date. I just mean the day. So in terms
Mars Day.
It's Mars Day. Today's Mars Day. I actually love Mars Day. As you can see, I'm in Aries, so therefore Mars all the way. So I had my rant regarding this energy. So let's go into the Infinity is clapping. Let's go into the energy itself. Again, we might need a part 2 because Infinity can't stay long. So we'll say what are the energies that are affecting the new moon. Jupiter station direct, of course. Jupiter has been retrograde for a minute now. So here, just saying. So we're happy. We are happy to see that Jupiter come back. Even though, like I said, it's
gotta be careful with it.
I know you have to be careful with it, because I think the sudden rush of the energy of abundance can create its own sonic boom. And this is why I have the Jupiter explosion. So Jupiter went retrograde on July 28th. The Jupiter retrograde, by the way, and I've talked about it. If you do check out my replays, I'm sure you'll find a Jupiter retrograde talk in there. Again, this was 4 months. And yes, all the planets go retrograde, so it's nothing new. They all have different cycles in which they go retrograde. Most of them go retrograde if you a certain part of the year. Always look at it this way. Retrograde is just my right side, left side of the brain. So meaning it's part of the cycle of the planet. It's not anything different, The difference here was Mars going retrograde. Mars goes retrograde every couple of years. So Mars went retrograde this year, and it's 2 year run. So that added a bit of different mix to it, and of course Chiron as well was in the mix. So here, because of this, Jupiter did go retrograde in Aries, where Chiron is in retrograde as well. So that affected a lot. So a lot of the money issues people were facing this year had to deal with childhood trauma and your childhood wounds. So you needed to really focus and work on this the childhood trauma, because Chiron is about that. And some of the childhood trauma also dealt with money issues. Okay, so we needed to really go deep to figure out where in your childhood you learned about how to deal with money, and how to deal with your financials and deal with energy, so that you can heal that aspect of yourself. And so Jupiter, go ahead, Infinity. I think you're on.
I just want to say, we talked about what you just said, childhood wounds, blockages, and concerning finances. But guess what? Okay, so Jupiter is going direct. So a lot of people are going to be walking into windfalls and blessings and financial increase. That can still be triggering.
Yes.
As far as your childhood wounds. And so how you deal with the increase, or how you feel about it, like feelings of worthiness, you feel worthy of the increase, it's going to determine what you do with the finances, what you do with this money. Do you blow it because you don't feel worthy? These things are going to start coming out. And so it's going to be just as stressful for some people to have the abundance as it was for some people to not have it at all. So that's why I'm saying be careful with it, because we still got to face some stuff within ourselves. And some of these things we're not even going to know it's there until you actually are in the situation. And it's the same with, I'm seeing this with finances. I'm seeing this also with relationships too.
Mm-hmm.
For people who are, wanting their true love, or whatever you want to call it. That person walks into your life, and what do you do with it?
Yes, and absolutely. The Jupiter retrograde was really about describing the areas of your life or personality traits and behaviors that needed that extra development. Okay, so here Jupiter was really looking to see if you've learned some of those financial lessons. And a lot of times, I know most of us, we deal with money, we understand money, but money is energy. Okay, so we are energetic beings. So if you have energy, what are you going to do with it? So if you have money, what do you do with it? How do you handle it? Where do you overspend? Where do you underspend? Is it an addiction? Is it, all of that would show up. Does it show the greed, the selfishness, the gluttony, the extravagance, the wastefulness, the self-righteousness, all of that, intolerance, addictions? All of these were being shown during this retrograde in Aries, where Chiron was stationed, which was having to deal with those wounds that we had to deal with, the traumas, the childhood traumas that we needed to really seriously take a look at, maybe work through, do some shadow work in. So hopefully you had a chance to work a little bit on this. Otherwise, with this windfall boom, it may look something totally different to the energy, because the energy is going to feel different. So today for me was like I felt frustration, and and that, and I'm assuming that might be the energy of that, of the new moon, as it changed, because again, the Jupiter, if it was holding this expansion, now it's gonna poof. So some of us might just be like going through just an explosion of it. So here, so that was the one aspect I think that's very important with Jupiter going direct. So the Jupiter And of course, that as usual, the sun conjunct the moon. The new moon trine Jupiter. So again, this is what we're just talking about, bringing all of that good prosperity, good fortune, success, making you very happy. Jupiter is very jovial, by the way, very happy planet. So here, in understanding the expansion. So watch your waist, because here we are, new moon, and then next day is Thanksgiving. So be careful of overeating here. In the next week, there's always leftovers. So just wanted to add that little bit. So,
especially if you got Pisces, Sagittarius, or Neptune in the first house, especially because your first house is about your physical appearance, and Pisces and Sagittarius are ruled by Jupiter. So your physical appearance is definitely affected by Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion. So people like us are more likely to expand in times like this, in Jupiterian seasons. So food for thought.
No, definitely. So here, we're looking to invest. Okay, so I have 20% on this phone, so I don't know. Okay, investment might be good this week. So Infinity only had an hour, so that's why she's like clapping. So that's why I say we might need a part two. So investment might be very good this week. So business deals. If you are self-employed, again, remember people are going to start Christmas shopping. So you get the gist. But however, it can also come to personal growth. So again, because remember, we're talking about that solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, it is about that personal development. So all of this can come into play. Now, in looking at the Jupiter retrograde, hopefully, again, like I said, hopefully we learn the lesson. There is a warning here. The new moon starts at 6 p.m. and Eastern, so check out your local time. Energies, by the way, are 3 days. Oh man, sorry. Energies, by the way, are 3 days before, 3 days after. So you may have already started feeling this energy. Like I usually feel energies like way ahead, infinity as well. So some people feel it after, but understand we usually are within energies for extended period of time. Energies connect to each other. So this is why I talk about the energy of the solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, and tying it to this new moon as a whole set of energy together. But this specific new moon that we're talking about here, it's actually there were specific things we were learning to each solar eclipse, the lunar eclipse, that is culminating and ending here, also starting something new. So this energy is starting a brand new cycle right now. So today, Infinity and I, we talked about, this is the time to really let go of like whatever if you didn't let go of something, you need to let it go. New, this is a new cycle. So it's either going to drag you with it, or, you can flow with it. So, it's very important for you to choose. Remember that twin here, not necessarily choose one side or the other, but you can choose how you go. So that's always important. So here was the Jupiter. I think I've covered Jupiter. So the next energy is Mercury and Venus. So Mercury conjunct Venus. And this to me has been a lot of fun, Infinity. And I have been watching Mercury dance with Venus, or Venus, the Mercury-Venus dance, I should say. So here, this is I think, overshadowed by the Mars retrograde. So one of the things that happens with the Mars retrograde is that Mars takes the energy as a trinity of the Sun, the Mercury, and Venus into itself. So the effect of the Mars retrograde is all over the interrelationship between Venus and Mercury here. So to put it simply, I put it simply and say Mercury communication, Venus relationship. So in terms of like how we communicate our relationship between ourselves, others, our business, and so on, anything like so here with this conjunct, with this conjunct in the new moon, this is about that interaction, that relationship interaction, that communication. So of course, I in Infinity always like to describe, different the how conjuncts and trine and are nice for me, because I've been seeing the interplay between Venus. It seemed that Venus would do one aspect and Mercury would follow. So there was a mimicking here between Venus and Mercury. And I would say Venus would go first, and then Mercury would. So if Venus conjunct something, Mercury would trine, and would conjunct it as well. Sextile, then Mercury would sextile. So this two energies, like how it is that we are communicating within our relationships, has been a lot of there's been a lot of issues with it. How do we communicate with each other? The arguments that people have been having, the misunderstandings people have been having, it to me is the dance between Mercury and Venus, relationship and communication, how we understand each other here has been very integral. Go ahead.
I just see, and again, just energy reading. I just see in this next season a whole lot of clash with Mercury. It's going to be a lot of people talking way more than they were before. People, I just hear the word like singing. People are going to be just telling the business, saying things. People who were silent before are going to be telling their story, telling the whole thing. And however this works, whether it's in friend groups, whether it's in a situation where someone's testifying against you and they're telling, their side of the story, I just see a lot of that this season. So I see Mercury just, I don't know, it's kind of still not very balanced, but just from one extreme to the other. And this can also include people making not just false accusations, but what's the word I'm looking for? When you think something a certain way and you're taking a stance against something because you believe it's that way and you could be wrong, so you're saying it wrong, but you really believe that it's that way. I see a lot of people doing that. And then having to be corrected later or not even, taking the correction. So a lot of clashes happening that way as well. But the stuff has to get out so it can be cleared up. And people that had been silenced before, it needs to come out anyway. I see a lot of conversations that needed to happen a long time ago, finally happening, for better or for worse. So yeah, I see it's it's going to be a lot of words. So that's what I read.
Yes, and then I think it does this. So the fixed star in Taurus points to it a bit more in explaining which is that Melville between. The fixed star in Taurus between Mercury and Venus causes malevolence, destructiveness, and violence. So it will make people headstrong and belligerent. So here, this is so this will bring suspicion. Here you are, wrongful accusation, insincerity.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's why I say insincerity, dishonesty, and selfishness. Again, sometimes what you're seeing is a lot of people want to be right. You ever see they'll have the conversation and then they'll want to be in the right. And
right. Yes.
That kind of conversation is like, I want to say what I want to say, but I want to show that I'm right. And
and it will be difficult for them to understand that they saw that they were not right.
Yeah, and,
that they were not right.
And
it's
my thing
gonna
is,
be hard.
And my thing is like, there is no right. That's the thing. And I think that's why they can't see that they're not right. Because there is no right. People are trying to choose things that you can't grasp anymore. We are in the space within our consciousness where we understand or understand the idea of right and wrong, good and bad, yes and no is not something that can be solidified.
Oh, and this leads me to something else that I'm reading for this energy is that, oh my gosh, this all ties in together. Thank you for saying that. A lot of forgiveness. I know that's the F word for a lot of people, but I have to say it. Forgiveness is needed to go forward on to the next level. Because a lot of what people have been holding back, or this energy that we're talking about here with the false accusations and whatever, that needs for the people who felt slighted or done wrong, or the words that were used maliciously against them. You have to forgive. You have to forgive. You have to let it go. You have to get your heart back to a place where it's light again. And when you haven't forgiven, you'll know, because you'll feel that
heaviness,
that twinge, and you'll feel it when it comes up. And as soon as you feel it, you gotta go release it. So this is another reason why this is all coming out the way that it needs to.
So let's see if I can stand my phone. Okay. Oh, it's better. So here, I think in understanding this energy, like Infinity is continuing to add, this idea of the left and right, left and right, the duality. So let's put it this way: people talk about non-duality, and they want, depending on the group, I say, it's like, okay, we want non-duality, as if duality is wrong. You understand, like this idea of like picking a side. So duality is quote unquote bad, meaning, and it's not. Non-duality is non-existent. You know what I mean? It's like, because there's duality. So so just because you want to make something wrong doesn't mean you're trying to erase it. See, so like with non-duality, it's like, well, we don't want duality, so therefore we're gonna be non-dual. Well, we're dual, and it's the non-solidity of duality that we have to understand. Meaning that duality doesn't need to stand on a fixed space. You can have opposite poles in different places. Poles don't need to be fixed. And that's where the consciousness is moving forward. And so some people, it will be easier to grasp than others. And as you move through the last part of the lesson that Saturn and Uranus has been teaching throughout this year is that change, but with restrictions. And that's okay, because they were actually working together. So even so when we first got into the storyline of the myth of Saturn and Uranus, understand that Saturn is Uranus's son. So even though it may seem, you want to add?
Nope, just clapping.
Sure. Even though it may seem that right, even though it may seem that there was a struggle between father and son, the struggle, the strife between father and son is a natural progression of our growth. of our evolution. And so the dance between change and restriction is actually showing you duality. And so in understanding that and seeing that, you're able to just say, okay, this is where I think the paradox can get resolved without it confining the mind. Because in understanding that your left brain is not just logical and your right brain is not just intuition, the two work together, they intermingle, they crisscross. And so that's very important to start to see as the consciousness evolves. Yeah.
Can I just add
Sure.
here that also change with restriction for a lot of us, the best way to get through seasons like that is surrender. Your ego is not a friend to change with restriction because you cannot control this change. You're restricted and the change has to happen. It is a very, very hard thing to go through if you're constantly trying to control the narrative, trying to control the situation, and trying to control your feelings about it. So surrender is the best way to get through it. And surrendering on all levels while this change takes place and grounding yourself, knowing that whatever the changes are, you're still going to be you and you're still going to be okay. You'll be better than okay. And always remembering that. And then also remembering to feel your feelings. It's okay to be upset, to be mad, to feel that this is a fucked up situation, or to feel that this is, extremely ecstatic and wonderful. Whatever your feelings are, feel the feelings and let yourself move through the energies and don't attach and don't attach storylines to the energies, or you'll find yourself stuck there longer than you need to be.
Yeah. Okay, so let's let me see. Where was it? Okay. So we did a Mercury conjunct Venus. So and then the next ones we talked about, okay, was the star. Fixed star yet prior, again, this is part of the constellation of Ophiuchus. And this star is so if you've never heard of Ophiuchus constellation, it's like that 13th constellation, that's sort of like in the middle. Check out my next post. I'll post a picture somewhere. So I've been having a little bit of fun and signaling some of the stars today. So, but in either case, the Ophiuchus is about again, like I said before, passion. It is a healing energy. It is that major healer. To me, it's the belly of the dragon. They show it as a snake.
Right. I'm over here thinking what keeps coming to me is secrets. And I know we've been talking about secrets. Oh, secrets coming out. But this feels different.
Yeah.
Are you feeling me with this? Or
I get you.
Okay, go ahead.
No, but you can continue as well. My thing is sometimes
I'm still, because again, I didn't do my homework, so I'm really just
keep going. We want see, like, we want the studied version, and then the little bit of the things that we do pull as we do these, because a lot of times the energy reveals itself as we talk about it, versus
I totally didn't I've been at work, so I didn't even have a chance to look at any materials, but I'm thinking. You say Ophiuchus, I say
Ophiuchus. That's fine. That's fine. Ophiuchus.
But I feel like, and I consider Ophiuchus a she.
Yes.
So I'm thinking dark feminine energy, and I'm thinking, this is a time for I don't even know how to put it into words, but a lot of that fixed star energy, a lot of the false accusations and blaming is really going to be revealing.
Yes.
More than anything. I don't know how else to, like, because I'm still feeling like I'm not putting it together the way I need to, but I'm feeling like a lot of the talking and a lot of the words that Mercury is going to be
The
putting
reverse.
out.
It's like, okay, this is how it is. The more somebody talks, the more they reveal themselves. That type of
Yes.
energy. Yes.
Yes.
And because they over talk.
The wisdom is to be especially quiet during this time, because you already know what the energy is, and to pay attention and to listen and start reading these words like a book. Go ahead.
No. I'm with you here. It's actually to listen, because as people talk, they do trip themselves. They do say the words, and then the words are also out of order. And this is where that chaos comes in, because this is one of the key things. Like, if you have your third ear open, that you can start to hear the pitch between words. And that's how, so like what,
reading between the lines,
the pitch between words. Remember the other day, and it happened to me so many times this week, where as I was talking and saying something, the sound would just go so loud off my ear. It was just like, whoa, I have to stop talking just to let the sound itself pass, because it was that loud. And so listening for the change in frequency.
And for some people, this will be the only confirmation you will get about the thing that you were seeking or asking about or wondering about. So you have to trust your intuition, and you have to trust that what you heard is what it was.
Again, it's a sound, not the word. It's like the sound, not the word. Let me say this again. It's the sound, like it's the change in the frequency that's changing. And so this is what you have to pay attention for. It's the frequency. So like, as somebody speaks, the tone goes higher, lower, the vibration changes. This is what we look, because the words are still the same. People are repeating the same nonsense. You know what I mean? And of course, as you know, if you know words, remember the things with now here comes the code. If you know words, that it comes in with code. So you have to be able to listen enough to hear the codes, versus thinking that what is being said is the thing. Because remember, there's millions of storylines out there. You have to see like the vibration, the tone, the frequency. That's where I think it will come different. So here, anything else, Infinity, before I...
That's all I got for now. So reading the secrets, like a book, reading between the lines and getting the information by way of listening to frequency. Trusting your intuition and being quiet. But it's not the same as a restrictive silence. It's a choice to utilize wisdom and to trust your intuition and not say anything, which is a different type of energy than the silence of restriction.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, with that being said, Infinity, it's about 11:24. How much time do you have left? Do you have a few minutes or no?
I'm in a deficit.
You're in that deficit. So what we'll do, like we'll come back with part deux. I'm sure we can, because I think there's so much here. And then when we do part deux, we'll go through the different signs. But my thing is like to establish the energy itself, so people understand like what they're into. So here with some of the things that needs to be done with this energy of the new moon. All right, so let me see if Infinity have any advice for people. Like, what do I do with this energy? What advice do you do?
Well, there are some people that will say, oh, this is a blood moon and you don't want to manifest on a blood moon. It's so chaotic. Yes, it's true. It's very chaotic. Can you hear me? Red
You
bar
you got a
feeling.
red bar. Your
Uh-huh.
voice was trembling, but I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, it's very chaotic. However, you know me, I'm gonna look at the numbers as well. So we're in our 11 month. So during November, it is the best time I feel to manifest anything because you can pull through the veil easier because the veil is thin in 11 month or in 11 energy. So I don't care what kind of moon it is or how chaotic you think it is. If there's anything that you want to see in your future, is there anything that you want to do? If there are any changes you want to make in your life, you definitely want to begin to think about those things, write those goals down, start to meditate, start to vision it, make a vision board, or just put it in your mind and began to work through that by way of manifestation. And the new moon is a perfect time to do that because you're beginning something, you're planting the seeds. And in actuality, I would say today, which is heading into the black moon, it is the perfect time to release and let go all of the things that stand in the way of what it is you want to manifest. Because the black moon, that's what it's about. I call it the dark abyss. And what I like to do is throw things in there. Whenever it's right before that new moon, when it's dark, that's where you want to throw things that you don't want to see again. That's where you want to release and let go. And you can trust that if you're letting go of something that's supposed to be in your life, it's going to come back. So you're not, this isn't no crazy, dark ass, ritual. This is just you sitting with yourself and saying, you know what? I've been holding on to this thing. And I know that this is, the opposite of where I'm trying to go. So let me take the time to consciously let this go. And that's what I like to do right before the new moon. So it paves the way for you to see what is in front of you. And then you're able to progress forward with those things. And I like to work with candles. So, and I like to work with water. So I work with fire, work with water, get a bath, light a candle, get your elements together, and perform that alchemy.
So all of what Infinity says is like a yes for me as well. So I keep getting red bars because I know I went a little bit deep. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're going against clubhouse standards.
I know. But like I said, if you did listen to the beginning, listen because I know I went a little bit more occult than normal. However, I really do feel that this energy, we are going into the yin, maximum yin energy. So Venus is going to be all over December, and understanding how to utilize the feminine energy to me is really important at this time. Whether you are in a female body or a male body, understanding your own feminine energy is vital to surviving because this is actually where you're getting your spark from. So that source of like where you can light up your fire is where this is coming from. So we want to be able to utilize both our masculine and our feminine energies. So here we are at the or moving toward maximum yin. So enjoy. Like this is where the feminine energy is at its highest energy. So I definitely utilize that. So here, and I've said this, we have solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, and new moon. So ending and beginning. So here, like cycle has ended. So we had all year to deal with a lot of trauma, a lot of different things. So here we're at the precipice of a new. So this next few hours, while we're still within the black moon, I would definitely release everything that you don't need, so that with the new moon you can set your new intention for the next 6 months. Now, if you don't know how to manifest, and some people don't, you don't manifest in the day of. My manifestation is not about today. It's not even about tomorrow. It's actually you project ahead. You manifest into the future. So right now, this is the perfect time to actually manifest for March. You know what I mean? So you want to be able to visualize how is your life going to be in March? What is life going to be like in March and April in the spring? So here we are in dead of winter, right? Or almost winter. What is your life is going to be like? So this is how you're going to utilize this energy for the next 6 months. So what's 6 months from here? Like April, May, something like this. So visualize that as you move forward. You're gonna work toward that. So this is what your new intention for the new moon needs to be about, the next 6 months. And so, however it is that you do what, I like rituals. A ritual is just like going to church. So this is what I do. And so, but utilize it. You can write it down. You can write it in your heart as well. So all of that can help you to solidify what it is that you want to bring into the reality. So, like Infinity said, that definitely a spiritual bath will help here a lot. So utilize that knowledge. The energy is so potent. Doing a spiritual bath will not only relax you, because a lot of people are having physical illness with the Mars retrograde energy. So a lot of stress, a lot of arguments with family members and whatnot. So all of these, taking R&R time to relax, maybe spending some time alone in reflection and contemplation would be a good time for this new moon. And like we always say, turn off social media.
I want to add one thing.
Sure,
too.
Go ahead.
For those of you who are old and daring, and I say this because it took me a long time to get here. If you have family members that trigger you, that cause blockages for you, and when I say cause blockages, I'm not talking about something you haven't let go of, like unforgiveness, but there are people who have family members that have wronged them, and they continue to be that way, and nobody checks them, and you feel forced to be around that and have to be okay with that. If you have this situation or situations like this in your family, stay the fuck away from them, because that will be the number one thing to choke out whatever it is that you're trying to manifest. You cannot manifest in the midst of a situation where you're very distracted emotionally. So it's literally a choice you'll have to make at some point if you haven't made it. But it's a very important choice to choose yourself in times like this, where the energy is the most potent and most fertile for you to co-create with. And the reason why in harvest season, the reason why there's so much negative news on the air, killings and such, but also like celebrities going crazy and doing all kinds of things, is to distract you from your harvest. It's to distract you from what it is you're supposed to be receiving right now. And you can miss what is for you by looking at something else in a whole nother direction. And so they'll put those things in your face so that you'll miss it. Well, this is another version of that, but it's a personal version of that. In your personal life, you can be distracted from your blessings because you're over here, eating turkey with a motherfucker that you want to kill. And that's not healthy. It's really not. So it's okay to choose yourself during the holidays. And I needed to hear this, year after year after year before I finally decided, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to choose myself, and I'm not going to go sit around people who I know don't even really like me to celebrate something that I don't even really believe in. I'm going to choose myself and start working for me and start receiving what is for me. So I'm just saying, with manifestation, your emotions are the most powerful things that you use in your manifestation, your emotion and your feelings. And if those are being used up in a low vibration, then you won't have them to use for something that you're bringing to you as far as a higher vibrational blessing. So keep that in mind this holiday.
So, like Infinity said, actually, as a reminder, yes, we're heading on Thanksgiving. So those family dinners, well, I won't be at one, so I don't know. Just saying, the family dinners, being very mindful, because again, the
I do
conversations,
Friendsgiving.
right, Friendsgiving. So remember, the conversations here, some of the conversations are still part of the conversation that must be had, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna be understood. So meaning, like, the conversation is gonna maybe still be within that argumentative conversation, and so within that it can be a blow up, and then the reveal is to you personally, not necessarily where you're going to convince somebody of anything. Remember, we talk about how people are going to be very hard-headed. They're going to believe what they believe for themselves, and so they're not necessarily going to agree with you at all. So what you're looking to understand is that you need to listen for that reveal that the conversation is revealing to you, versus trying to fix the person or make up with the person or all of that. This is not the energy for it. So understanding this is a conjunct here, not, it would, even if it would be like a good energy for conjunct between Mercury and Venus, which would be the communication and the relationship, but because of the fixed star in Taurus here, which is the poison that needs to be given so that it can heal, the poison is still working its way through our system. So here in Taurus is actually, I just blinded myself. That's so funny. And Taurus is actually making it very violent thing, like the kind of things where people are gonna say things that are not sincere, that are dishonest, that are actually even selfish. That, and Taurus is gonna make it where, because just so that I can look a certain way, I'm gonna say whatever. That's that Venus, and then so in Taurus, Mercury and Venus makes it suspicious, accusing, accusatory. Yeah, like, even, let's put it this way, a lot of difficulties. Also, be careful of getting sick from the food. There's that as well. There might even be a death in the family as well. So just an FYI for some of you, that's also here, either the death of a relative or at home or away. So
speaking of death, do you want to talk about 2023?
Sure. I mean, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm just kidding. I'm not going there tonight.
Well, just saying, like, in terms of, again, this energy, I think this week already came with some violence. In terms of heading into the week of Thanksgiving, there's been some, like, mass murders. So we're talking about those.
You haven't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, so there's this is still within it. Remember, also, there's mass murders. It's a lot of mass murders, mass firing, mass whatever. And my head is coming mass suicide as well. So just saying, just to be aware, whenever those news come, don't overdose on them. Oh God, here I go again. So again, so this is all here, overdosing. So just saying, this is the energy. So to me, as we...
You have a red bar?
Yeah, I'm sure, because I said...
It's time to close the room.
I know. All right, sorry, I'm getting too deep, because it's all like boom, boom, boom in my head. So just saying, be mindful.
Part two.
Can you even hear me? I don't know.
Barely. You're shaking.
How about now?
That's better.
Okay, all right.
I have a red bar too, so
yeah. So yeah, I mean, we probably went too deep. I know that. So tomorrow we'll do a part 2, and the part 2 will be light with each sign. However, just understand, it's like whoever's here was meant to listen, whoever isn't wasn't. It's a pretty hard energy to go through, but understand it's a very transformative energy. So it's gonna come in with a lot of transformation for those who are ready for it. So hopefully you are. They use it wisely. So with that being said, thank you so much for being here. A lot of people came through. I'm sorry I really didn't want to say hello, take the time to say hello, because I wanted to put this out into the consciousness So with that being said, thank you so much for being here. Those of you on TikTok, those of you on Clubhouse, and I know a lot of people came to TikTok. I apologize. I'll come in live some other time and we'll talk TikTok. With that being said, even for those of you inside of the chat of the Clubhouse, thank you so much for saying all of these things. I really about Byron Lighthouse, and I know I saw your notes. I just like, oh man, I need to get these through. Miss. Oh, you stayed the whole time. Thank you, wholeness. Okay, so Infinity definitely is gonna kick me because she's like half an hour over. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day, everybody. Have a great night, wholeness. Wholeness. All right. So TikTok. All right, awesome. I'm gonna say good night to you guys as well. It's about 11:40. I don't know if I'll come back. I don't know, but I need a break at least. So thank you so much for being here. A bunch of you came in through. I know I should do a better job. Like I could have probably got more people into the space. For those of you who did stay, thank you. And again, and I know I didn't answer anybody's question only because Quack, what is it? It was like Quackit Riley, wholeness, how are you? Yeah, I really wasn't paying attention to the chat, but thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sending me those likes. I do appreciate it. I really wanted to put it in because what I'm gonna do is actually break it apart and then post them. And then TikTok has the best video. So otherwise I could have gone and done it on IG. But thank you so much. Have an amazing night, everybody. Hopefully you got a chance to listen to this because it was really a pretty cool energy. So wholeness, everybody.